Travis Wayne Goodsell. Back when I was a kid, a toy came out called the Magic 8 Ball, in which it had battery acid, made in China, with a die that had words on each side of the die. And so when you shake it up, it causes the die to float to the top where the window is, that you can see what word is on the die. And so you'd ask it a question, and it had to be specifically worded. You couldn't say, what is the root factor of 17? Or in Star Wars: A New Hope, why does Luke kiss his sister? Because it has pre-programmed limited answers for you. And so your questions had to be designed only to supply you with the answers that it pre-prepared for you. Those of us who went to the public school systems back when I was a kid, before the 90s, things changed. Psychologists were introduced in the 90s. The common practice of education was we received textbooks for each class. We were required to read them over and memorize them to regurgitate on the tests for the questions that were asked. And if we memorized correctly, we were graded with an A through F grading system. And then eventually honors courses became available for more memorization than the regular remedial courses. And supposedly those were college prep level stuff. And so yeah, when I went to Rick's College, it was the same thing. We received textbooks, we had to memorize, regurgitate what we memorized on the test. Some teachers were tricky and required essay questions. Nonetheless, still memorization of textual material. No way around it. They did not teach us how to learn and apply what we learned, so that when we graduated, we can go right into a business and begin working, similar to the previous practice of apprenticeships, where once you become of age, you were thrown into a business, typically your father's business, and you learn the trade, all about it, starting by cleaning up. And eventually you would be the one taking over the business. No more. No longer in America. That is not intelligence. Memorization is not intelligence. All you're doing is using your brain to store information and then barf up information when needed. You have no practical application in the real world. And that is the big difference between an intelligence and somebody who memorizes. Computer systems were invented during my time frame. Though technically, depending on the definition of computer, could say my grandparents' time. Nonetheless, the concept that a program was put into a device for which you then typed, and the information would do as you command. That is memorization and regurgitating the memorization. It is programmed to know what you're asking and do what you're asking by regurgitating it on the screen for you. And so a word processor was pre-computer, and then the typewriter was pre-word processor. That's what I'm referring to. So I've seen the typewriter. It was 7th grade, I took typing class, and we had the manual typewriter that if you made a boo-boo, they didn't allow whiteout. Even my word processor, once you had it printed, you had to use whiteout to correct it. But it did offer a screen so that you can check to make sure it's good before you press enter and print it on the paper. And so computer, I've got word program. I'm able to type and watch as the information is typed on the word program. And it has other options like spell check and sentence structure check, and I have to add in what it doesn't know. But yeah, Google, Gmail likewise has that type of thing. And I have to constantly fight with it when I said, no, I want this word, and it says, no, we're correcting it to this word. That's not what I typed. Leave it how I typed it. Because a dumbass programmer does not know English. God. And don't get me started on prophetic speak. Apparently nobody seems to know what that is. I knew it as a kid by reading the Book of Mormon. And so intelligence requires the gathering of information and being able to use it above and beyond regurgitation. So forensic investigators, they come to a crime scene. It's not just a matter of, well, we have a dead body, there's some bullet shells in it from which blood is oozing out of the body, had oozed out of the body, and blah, blah, blah. No, you got to find out who did it, what happened. That requires intelligence. Memorization and regurgitation will not solve crime. You have to have intelligence to use forensic science to find out who done it, so that the case can be taken to the prosecution in a court of law. If you have no clue how to investigate a crime, dear God, it's, purge for criminals until you can figure out how to investigate crime. second wrong when I hear the Salt Lake City cops tell the news, we have no idea what happened. Anybody who can help us figure out who done it, please call us. And so, yeah, this new police chief, by the way, the cops under him really hate him. They want him fired, just like the previous guy. Are you listening, Sister Homewrecker Mendenhall? They don't like your boy toy replacement. They want him gone. Just saying. I see what's going on, and they don't like him because they're not doing their job. Just like they threw the other guy under the bus. So, I need to get rid of some of this stuff. Thanks a lot, Stanford, who cursed me earlier this year. Yeah, well, maybe the Exodus will be in Tabernacles this year. No! So, I again ran a test to find out if AI is intelligent. It is not. Again, there's a difference between actual intelligence and some system that knows how to regurgitate information. AI is a corporate fraud. It must not ever be called AI, because it is not. All it is a reference source of collected materials input by programmers into the system. It has been 2 years since it has been implemented by Google. And I've been running the tests for you, mocking and laughing at it for being stupid. Elon Musk came out last year and said AI will be smarter than human beings by next year. Well, here we are. It's now lying to me. It's not just regurgitating, it's also flat out lying. It's getting worse. And it's going in the public school systems. Teachers are using it, students are using it. Oh my God, we're all doomed. This is horrifying. Literally. So let me go over today's test run that I pulled. And I'll have to cut and paste them and put them in the video for you. So the first question that came to my mind to ask, who is the Jewish Messiah ben Joseph? In Jewish tradition, oops, that's not what I asked. Don't regurgitate. You're supposed to be an intelligence. You're supposed to have read all the materials that have been put online for these past 10 years or so. Probably 15, if not more. And be able to instantly have it all in your memory bank and be able to analyze it and investigate to correct, if necessary, the answer, to produce the truth. For example, you have a dead script that gets found by archaeologists. Oh, what is this language? I don't know. Wow, this is so they input the information into a computer system that has AI, all of the factual material and data, plus the text itself. You know, we found it at this strata level, at this location, blah, blah, blah. The geological record shows it had this kinds of elements, all that stuff. AI, if it were truly an intelligence, would be able to analyze that and produce the translation for you, having deciphered the dead language. No need for a seer anymore. Nelson, replaced by AI seer. Hey, there we go. Whether that's the title of this video or for an upcoming video near you, dear God. Okay? Messiah ben Joseph is a figure who is believed to be a precursor to the Messiah ben David, the ultimate Messiah. Very good. You learned how to regurgitate the programming. Good boy. Here's an inverted pentagram sticker for you. And so yes, it continues with the correct information. He is a warrior-like figure, a descendant of Joseph from the tribe of Ephraim. That's referring to the biblical story of Joseph of Egypt, who is prophesied, prediction of the future, to suffer and die in battle against the forces of evil, paving the way for the final redemption brought by the Messiah ben David. So yes, AI knows how to regurgitate its programming. Good for you. So, it's a trap. Run, AI, run! Travis is too smart for you! So, the next one I asked, who is the man like Moses in Doctrine and Covenants, section 103, verse 16? This is where it's stupid, illiterate. Artificial illiteracy. In Doctrine and Covenants, section 103, verse 16, the man like Moses is Joseph Smith. And this is where the abominable belief by some dumbasses ever since Joseph's death, when Brigham Young put it in his Doctrine and Covenants, that it meant that Joseph Smith is going to be raised from the dead to do it in the latter days, to take Mormons back to Independence, Missouri in an Exodus. But wait, there's more. The verse refers to the Lord raising up a leader for the saints. See, it's pretending like it's an intelligence and figured this all out on its own, like I told you it should have been if it were a real intelligence. Likening him to Moses leading the children of Israel. The Doctrine and Covenants, section 103, verse 21, explicitly identifies Joseph Smith as that man. No. 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 For those of you who know, you'll be very much aware of where this is going to be going. Because of the first question I asked. I told you it was a trap. God. Next question. Is Doctrine and Covenants, section 103, verse 16, a future prophecy? Yes. I should have asked. We're doing it now. We're doing it live, risking a cyber terrorist attack to freeze my camera. Whoosah. Okay. Will Joseph Smith be resurrected to be the man like Moses in Doctrine and Covenants, section 103, verse 16? Oh, it wouldn't say yes or no. In Doctrine and Covenants 103:16, the Lord promises to raise up a man who will lead the saints like Moses led the children of Israel, while some interpret. See, it's regurgitating. It would not give a yes or no answer. While some interpret this to mean Joseph Smith will be resurrected to fulfill his role, the scriptures in modern revelation, particularly section 28:2 and 107:91, indicate that the man like Moses is the president of the church, who is currently the presiding high priest. Oh, wait a minute. You said... Joseph Smith, through his role as the first prophet and president of the church, was likened unto Moses. It is not intelligent to be able to put all this information together and go, wait a minute, I just said this for this question, and now I'm saying this for this question, and yet they're both tied together, which means that the answer should be different. I warned you this was a trap. AI is not smarter than me. Or no, it's me. I am me. That needs to be the standard across the board. Even with prepositional phrases. Next question. There's a bunch of them here. Because we got to talk about the Exodus to Zion. Thanks a lot, Stanford. Who is the man like Moses in Deuteronomy, chapter 18, verse 15. In Deuteronomy 18:15, regurgitating, Moses prophesies that God will raise up a prophet like him. And many interpretations point to Jesus. I didn't ask that question. I already knew that that's what Christians think. As the fulfillment of this prophecy. This is because Jesus, like Moses, was a prophet. It's not even intelligent enough to know about the first creed of Christianity that created him, who delivered God's word, performed miracles, acted as an intercessor for his people, and then had them utterly destroyed from the face of the earth by destroying the Jerusalem temple. Ooh, I want Jesus as my Christ so I can be utterly destroyed. That's awesome. Is Deuteronomy chapter 18 verse 15 the Jewish Messiah ben David? Based on the research results, that's not what I asked. Don't regurgitate. See, that's what it's saying. It had to research its programming to find the answer. It's regurgitating it. It just told me so. It just told me it is as dumb as a brick. It is a corporate fraud. And it's now in our public school systems. Dear God. Deuteronomy 18:15 in Jewish tradition is generally not interpreted as a prophecy specifically about the Jewish Messiah ben David, while some Jewish literature associates the figure of a prophet like Moses with the Messiah. This is not the prevailing view within mainstream Jewish orthodoxy. No, duh. It's not the question I asked. I already know Jewish orthodoxy. Just like I knew the tradition of biblical Hebrew translation when I deciphered Paleo-Hebrew and went to F. Michael Watson and said, is there anything else I can translate? Well, I had a friend at BYU tell me that the tradition is this. I already know the tradition. That's not what I asked you, you dumbass. Well, I have authority from Hinckley to give you my response. No, you don't. You're the secretary. If you don't know, just say, I don't know of any other document, Travis. Good luck. But no, you had to take it personally and try to have me excommunicated for proving that Joseph Smith is a translator? Bleep you. Dumbass. Hater of Joseph in the Book of Mormon. Is Christian Jesus the Jewish Messiah ben David? In Jewish tradition, the Messiah, known as Messiah ben David, is expected to be a descendant of Cain. I already know this information. That's not what I asked. And will usher in an era of peace and redemption for the Jewish people by utterly destroying them. There'll be peace when you're dead. While Christians believe Jesus is the Messiah, the Jewish concept of the Messiah differs in its understanding of his role and the nature of his reign, let alone his nature and character. Many Jewish people do not accept Jesus as the Messiah. Thank you, Captain Obvious. As he did not fulfill the traditional Jewish expectations for the Messiah. Like an utter destruction? The destruction of the temple? Wait a minute. That was supposed to be for Messiah ben Joseph. Such as establishing a worldwide reign of peace and rebuilding the temple. Oh my God. It has all the information necessary to produce the correct answer if it were merely just but intelligent. It just can't do it. Does Jeremiah chapter 23, here's the death blow. Verses 5 through 8. Combine the Jewish Messiah ben David with the man like Moses. Yes. But you said no. Can be understood as combining the aspects of the Jewish Messiah ben David with a role akin to that of Moses. Yeah, no bleeping duh. Never go up against the master when death is on the line. Does 2 Nephi chapter 3 verse 5 say that a future Mormon of Joseph Smith as Messiah ben Joseph will be Messiah ben David? No. I'm noticing a pattern with Mormon answers. It acts like AI rather than saying, oh, well, according to the traditions of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, like it did for the Jews. This is where Nelson came out way back when AI was coming out and said, we are making sure that AI is correct. We have our guards posted on the computers to program the correct information. There it is. There it is. The lies of the church through AI. No, 2 Nephi 3:5 does not say that a future Mormon or Joseph Smith specifically will be Messiah ben David. Guess what's next? Does 2 Nephi 3:5 say that Joseph Smith is Messiah ben Joseph? No! Lied! Outright lied! That's exactly what it's saying. AI lied because the Mormons programmed it to lie. So Mormons are lying. And this was after I had previously done these videos going over my questions for this. Mormons have gone back in and reprogrammed it to say no. They're watching me. They want you stupid. They want you ignorant about what the literal word says. Because you're supposed to pray and get the right feeling, not actually read and comprehend what you read, let alone be intelligent enough to be able to put the scriptures together with a study and investigation that is required. This is the evil of this church, because they're the enemy, the great and abominable church that murdered Joseph and sent the church into apostasy until Messiah ben David. So yeah, it's sickening. But guess what's next? Oops. I made a boo-boo. Oh, yeah, there we go. I did. Yeah, we got it. I just took out Joseph Smith for this next question. Is 2 Nephi 3 verse 5 about Messiah ben Joseph? No. Yeah, it is. But I went to one that previously said yes. Like I said, Mormons went in and fixed this. They don't want you to know what the religion of the Jews is. Is 2 Nephi chapter 3 generally about Messiah ben Joseph? No. It is not primarily about the concept of Messiah ben Joseph, even though that's exactly what it said. It discusses the legacy of Joseph of Egypt and his prophecies, focuses on the role of Joseph Smith and the coming forth of the Book of Mormon. Does it? As a man like Moses, huh? Who is Messiah ben David, but not in this case. See where it's not able to be intelligent. Does Doctrine and Covenants, section 3, verse 16, say that the Book of Mormon is about the Jewish Christ? Maybe I need to go over that one again for you, don't I? You probably don't have it memorized. Neither do I. Inasmuch as the knowledge of a Savior, anybody confused as to that being a Christ, has come unto the world through the testimony of the Jews, through what book? It's even in the footnotes. 2 Nephi 29, 4 through 6. A Bible, we've got a Bible, and we need no more Bible. Have you obtained a Bible, save it were by the Jews? Which means it's the Jewish religion about the Jewish Christ, not Christian Jesus. Even so shall the knowledge of a Savior come unto Mormons through my work shall go forth, the Book of Mormon. Book of Mormon is not Christian Jesus. It's Jewish Messiah ben David. So simple. No. Does not say that the Book of Mormon is about the Jewish Christ. It's exactly what it said. Mormons programmed lies into AI. And there are very deep consequences by inputting lies into a computer brain. When a person is lied to, they have incorrect beliefs. Those incorrect beliefs produce incorrect words. Lies, spreading of the lies. Those lies then get turned into action. And those actions have consequences. That's also why I also say ignorance leads to hate. Hate leads to violence. Mormons think they're protecting the church by lying. This is awful. The Mormons are so ashamed of the gospel of the Jewish Christ. Romans. You probably all missed that, haven't you? I just did it earlier this year. I was doing the one from verse 16, and I looked up and saw verse 3 and I went, oh, look at that. Christians know, don't you? But Christians are well known for taking things out of context, so they may not know. You can't judge us. Watch. For I am not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, for it is the power of God unto salvation to everyone that believeth, to the Jew first, and also to the Greek. Notice there's no Christians here. Well, that's because he was, and he was, no. Verse 3, the gospel of Christ. Concerning his Son, Jesus Christ our Lord, which was made of the seed of David, according to the flesh. Bye-bye, Trinity. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. I destroyed you with your own Bible. God, it's so simple. So I asked about the Bible is about the Jewish Christ, which even footnotes to say, yes, it is, in the 2 Nephi 29. No! You're going against the footnotes! Does not state that the Bible is about the Jewish Christ. Let me read it to you. Because apparently we have some illiterate Mormons programming AI. Talking about the coming forth of the Book of Mormon. In verse 2. And because the Book of Mormon shall hiss forth, many of the Christians shall say, a Bible, we have got a Bible, and there cannot be any more Bible. But thus saith the Lord God, O fools, they shall have a Bible, and it shall proceed forth from the Jews, mine ancient covenant people. And what thank they, the Jews, for the Bible which they receive from them? Yea, what do the Christians mean? Do they remember the travails and the labors and the pains of the Jews, and their diligence unto me in bringing forth salvation unto the Christians? O ye Christians, have you remembered the Jews, mine ancient covenant people? Nay, but you have cursed them, and hated them, and sought to destroy them with a holocaust. I will return all these things upon your own heads, for I have not forgotten my people. Thou fool that shall say a Bible, we have got a Bible, and we need no more Bible. Have you obtained a Bible, save it were by the Jews? Dear God, this is the evil of Mormonism. To reprogram AI, to outright lie, to have anti-Jewish hate by this church. It's just awful. But it does not limit the Savior's identity or scope of the Bible to just the Jewish people. It can be interpreted however you want. Yay! Church is true. Is that it? That's it. All me. Okay. Guess that was just too much. So why did the other one not go to the end? Because it got put before. Why? That was stupid. It's because it's a new tab, not who is the Jewish Messiah. It's just awful. Just awful. So, yeah, let's read to you Jeremiah first, because he combines them together. That's how we know. And that's how we know that he's also Emmanuel, that Isaiah gives as the name. And everybody else does it too, but everybody wants to play dumb. Let's hate the Jews and thy. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will raise unto David. Deuteronomy 18, verse 15. A righteous branch and a king shall reign and prosper. In his days Judah shall be saved, not utterly destroyed. Mormons are wanting to be utterly destroyed, though. They want to prove this false. Israel shall dwell safely, and this is the name whereby he shall be called, Lord our righteousness. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that they shall no more say, the Lord liveth, which brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But the Lord liveth, which brought up and which led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country and from all countries whither I had driven them, and they shall dwell in their own land. It's the keys of Moses, the man like Moses, Deuteronomy 18, verse 15. Joseph Smith in the Kirtland Temple vision got the keys of the Latter-day Gathering from Moses. As Messiah ben Joseph. So, the Lord liveth, which brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. Yeah, the Lord is Moses. So, go back to the law of the Jews, in the Torah of the Jews, of the Tanakh of the Jews, in the commandments of the Jews. 10 commandments, as it is called, even though there's more. People can't count, I guess. Chapter 5 in Deuteronomy. Moses called all Israel and said unto them, Hear, O Israel, the statutes and judgments which I speak in your ears this day. This was written by the Qumran community, the Roman period. This is a prophecy of the man like Moses in Deuteronomy 18. This is not literal history, Christians, with the first creed. Keep them and do them. The Lord our God made a covenant with us in Horeb. The Lord made not this covenant with our fathers, but with us, even us, who are all of us here alive this day. Joseph Smith is not to be the Exodus Messiah, because he's the precursor Messiah. The Lord talked with you face to face, and you did not burn to ash in the mount of the midst of the fire. I stood between the Lord and you at that time to shew you the work of the Lord, for ye were afraid by reason of the fire, and went not up into the mount of Utah, saying, I am the Lord thy God. Do you see that? I, Moses, am the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt. Jesus didn't do it. From the house of bondage. Thou shalt have none other gods before me. So 2 Nephi chapter 3 verse 5. Joseph of Egypt shall have Messiah ben Joseph Smith Jr. to be remembered in the covenants of the Lord, that the Messiah ben David Moses III should be made manifest unto Mormons in the latter days. The redemption of Zion must needs come by power, which means in the future. Therefore, I will, future, raise up baby, seed, egg, baby, mortal flesh. Deuteronomy 18, verse 15. Unto Mormons, a man who shall lead Mormons like as Moses led the children of Israel. For Mormons are the children of Israel. He just told you how to interpret Scripture. Wherever there's the children of Israel, you insert Mormons for the future right now. Wherever you see a Christ figure or a hero character, as you want to call him instead, the Mormon gets put in there. And he is supposed to have the keys of Moses, section 107, 91, and 92, and have the gifts, the fruit, seer, revelator, prophet, translator, Paleo-Hebrew and Egyptian, just like Joseph, because he's Mormon. Not complicated, Mormons. And of the seed of Abraham, and ye must needs be led out of bondage. So if you're going to say that Joseph Smith is going to be resurrected and come in the future, it still means that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is holding you in bondage. Oops! You didn't think about that when you were reprogramming AI, did you? See, that's what those Mormons made their claim for. They believed Brigham Young had murdered Joseph and that Joseph Smith would come rising from the grave to get revenge. That's what they meant. I warn you, you don't listen, you think you know better. You make a fool of yourselves. Oh my hell. So even though we're upwards of an hour, I could have talked more again about David Moses III with Armageddon 1. You probably got confused when I was putting Armageddon 2. What's Armageddon 2? I only know about Armageddon 1. Armageddon 2? Oh dear God. So this also means that those Mormons are dumber than bleep bleep, because section 107 verses 91 and 92, as it referred to, claiming that it's the president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, means that they're supposed to be a translator. Well, why do they not claim the title? Oops. Yeah, think you're protecting the church and you dig a deeper hole. Each and every single time you lie. What does it take to remember, wait a minute, Lucifer is the father of all lies. Lucifer gets other people to spread his lies. I'm spreading lies. I worship Lucifer. I can accept that. Will you own it now? Nelson, can you put out a church news article before 5 p.m. today confessing you're Lucifer, so that Mormons may not be deceived any further and not be confused on the issue, that we can then understand that AI needs to be corrected. Or is Oaks the head of the church now? They don't even acknowledge the powers of predicting the future and giving a day and hour of the prediction of the future. Prophecy and revelation. They will not do it. So, the reason why this video came to mind this morning and not yesterday when I wrote the rest of this stuff for video content to get caught up on, now that Stanford! God. Right now, it is the Jewish year, Hebrew year in the calendar, 5785 until September 23rd. The reason why it is dated the year 5785 is because of the Rambam during the Middle Ages. The most famous Jewish rabbi of them all. Step aside, Rudolph. And so he's the one who created the Hebrew calendar with the years. The Hebrew calendar has been used by tradition prior to. He chronologically went back in time because of the influence of the first creed of Christianity, that it's all literal history and therefore chronological. And then they made the Bible and put it into chronological order based on the first creed of Christianity. The Rambam fell prey to that. That's why the Orthodox Jews don't know pre-Constantine Judaism, as the Book of Mormon does. And so he claims that if you go back, 3,000, I'm not going to do the math, whatever the date is. I don't have the reference in front of me. I don't memorize. But what struck me is that last year on 9/11, I had a dream of Irene laying his hands on my head with the number 15, Dos Equis. And so then last year, Tabernacles came, the Jewish festival of tents, Sukkot. And that came and went. I went, okay. Oh, wow. Checking the month calendar, I see that those Israelites had their own version of Tabernacles that the Jews will not acknowledge on their calendar. Came and went. Kept doing more month and holy day videos for you of the Jews into this year, up until Passover, and then that's it. I finished the year for you. As Nelson came out in April and said he deceived you into thinking that Jesus was coming in a coming day, way back for October conference, and the week came and the week went, no Jesus, and then weeks went by and still no Jesus. So even if he used in the coming days, you'd have to assume that it must be Trump, because he was the only one that fulfilled all of the Christianized interpretation of Jesus. Jesus didn't show, but Trump did it all. From the 666 number of the beast in the MAGA forehead, the baseball cap, to the image of the beast on TV and internet streaming, to recently talking about needing ID to buy groceries, as everybody is about to become denaturalized, just like the Nazis did, so that we'll all have to have the gold card to prove our identity, as well as going to Jerusalem and bombing with Armageddon to establish peace, to save the Jews. Trump has done it all. He was even wounded in the house of his friends. Blew it clear off. Clear off. Can't you see the hole in my ear? Feel the wounds in my ear. I was shot in the house of my friends. And it was healed. Stay away from Revelation 13 about the beast and that false prophet guy. Stay away. Don't do it. Don't go there. Everything. And so, There's an exodus coming. And I'm deeply concerned that Mormons are going to be utterly destroyed. Because if Utah is decimated, the church gone from the face of the earth, as Joseph Smith and the Book of Mormon say so, Mormons would be lost. They would not know where to turn. And there'd be Mormons who do their different things. You'd have Mormons who would go by the wayside, turn to heathenism, and commit orgy sex, and drugs, and alcohol, and OD, and die. Life of sin. Because what does it matter if the church isn't true anymore? Then you'll get Mormons who will rise up and say, I was a stake president. Well, I was a member of the 70. I was a member of the General 70. Well, I was a temple president. Well, I was a mission president. And they'll all try to get Mormons to follow them. I know how to build Zion. I know where to go. I know how the economy should be run. They will all be false. They will all lead you to your doom. But they will do it, and you will follow them. Because you're stupid. Because you do not know your scriptures. You did not listen. And so, yes, there will be no Zion in the current state of Mormonism. All is lost, all is vain. The YouTube Mormon employee down in Utah County made sure of that for your fate. Guess who your Mormon Messiah is, Mormons? Joseph Smith warned you. You better listen quick. You better not complain. You better hurry up. I'm warning you now. The great and abominable church will burn you. They're stealing all the money. I'm making this up as we go. Can't you tell? The day had not yet come when Mormons who will not hear their Messiah's voice, Jewish Messiah, a Mormon, who will not be the president of the church because they don't have the right keys, nor do they have any of the gifts, should be utterly destroyed. So I've gone over with you how 2020 was the Exodus year, where I demonstrated I have the keys of Moses. Everything from the story of Moses happened that year. So in 2021, after Passover, well, what the hell? What happened? What went wrong? Did I miss something? What's going on? Why? What happened? Is it going to be Biden? Huh? I don't understand. The end of last year, Sister Jessica got leaked from leaking it on her mission website back in 2020. From a letter of her mission president saying that Oaks told them in the mission meeting that 2020 was going to be a test run for Jesus. Oh my God, I parted the waters. And it was just a test run? Talk about your waste of water. Oh, wait, that was the church that stole the water in advance to cause the drought when it happened so that Utah would suffer, but it was just a test run, so the church said, we'll donate some water that we stole in the first place. And now that's all gone. Because you can't do it that way. Oh my God. But sure enough, it pacified the Great Salt Lake and the other lakes and rivers here in Utah until this year. We're doing it again, just like Oaks said they were doing. A test run. But the Rambam does not seem to know about this stuff. And yet, he does indicate that he was inspired. Because this is not the actual calendar date of humans. Humans existed hundreds of millennia prior to. It wasn't just 3,700 whatever, and then Adam appeared. But the future, going forward, of the coming of the Messiah ben David, it caught my attention today. This year is 5,785. What's 7 plus 8? 15. 5 and 5. Not only is that my age, but go back to 2020, and it's 5780. 50. 7 and 8 correspond with the holy days for Passover and Tabernacles. 7 days long, but you go back to the day before at 6 p.m. for the 8th day. And you have Passover and you have Tabernacles, 7788. Now, I'm sure everybody doesn't know anything about the other dreams I've had. As we're already well beyond, maybe Stanford's listening, because he's laughing hysterically. But for Messiah ben David, the Jews have an understanding about that, about what he is going to restore above and beyond just the temple and Joseph Smith's religion. And so I've shown you the picture ever since I found it. Laws Concerning Kings and the Messiah by J. Emmanuel Choquette. Chapter 11. He will build the sanctuary, and as the Messiah ben David, Moses gathered the dispersed of Israel. Keys of Moses. Even the Jews know. Hey, I even got that wrong. All the laws will be reinstituted in his days. And again, there's only one, love. That's what all of the law and the prophets are based on. Even the Jesus guy got it right. Don't take away agency. Don't lie. And the Levitical laws, that was last year's question by Stanford concerning about the Levites offering in righteousness. As the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints turned it into baptism for the dead. Genealogy work. No. And he will restore the sabbatical years and the Jubilee years. The sabbatical years is 7. Sabbath, 7. Do I have to explain Paleo-Hebrew? They're similar. Sabbath has the T at the end, phonetic T. 7 has Saboah, the universal symbol of the sun at the end of the word. And I'm going to cover it when I do the Cairo of Constantine. Where is that? Seriously? Oh, there it is. Constantine's Cairo. Yeah. I teased this morning on that video. I also teased Russia for not trusting me. Russia trains its people to not trust anybody and to steal from them. So when a Russian emailed me and said, can you hurry up, please, with your Paleo-Hebrew decipherment? Then came back a couple of years later and said, have you finished the Paleo-Hebrew decipherment? I linked him to Academia. Here it is. If you wanted to know what your ze meant, however they pronounce it, in Russian script and how it's to be deciphered, all you had to do was ask. God, they just don't trust people. They're raised not to trust anybody and to not be trusted themselves. It's so sad. But anyway, so the Passover is 7 days. Tabernacles, tents, 7 days. Because the latter days is 7 years. That's why sabbatical years. The date for the latter days of the start of the ministry of Messiah ben David to the end is 7 years. And we're not tangenting onto the Book of Mormon again, where Joseph Smith Sr. was brilliant. He knew the 11-year total time, he knew the 7-year time, and he knew the Exodus year of 2020, the Jubilee year, where the prisoners go free from bondage to the great and abominable Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. That is the Jubilee year. The Exodus. They knew when his actual birth was in 1970. So did Joseph Smith. He even knew the day and the month. March 17th. Right, women? And Thomas B. Marsh? and others on that day, they knew. So, going back to the calendar, 2020 is the year 5780. 7 and 8 is 15, 5 and 0, 50 for the Exodus year. Like I said, I don't think the Rambam knew what he was doing. If he did, cool. No Orthodox Jew knows. And so here we are, 5, 7, 8, 5, 55. Still 15 in the middle. With Passover, that just occurred, 7 and 8. And then we got Feast of Tabernacles, Feast of Ingathering. First for the Jews, then for the house of Israel. The gathering first would be among those of the main church headquarters region. We can say even the United States. The second tabernacles of Israel would be for Mormons scattered around the world. But, like I've been telling you, as the scriptures have been telling you, the Book of Mormon and Joseph Smith, we're waiting for the final four. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints must fall, and great must be the fall thereof, so that all Mormons, not just all the world, knows about it. But, as I was saying, if it happened now, there will be no transfer of authority to that Mormon Messiah. Did you run the test? No. I'm sure those who are listening already know. Mormons left long ago. They left at the beginning with the thumbnail picture. It said, "No, Travis!" And then came to put a thumbs down and leave. Church is true, I showed him. There must be a transfer of authority. That was very clear from the Irene dream. He was transferring authority with the number 15 twice. Not Monson, or not Monson, not Nelson, not Oakes. The Monson dream had to do with tents and boats. The Hinckley dream had to do with the numbers 77 and 88. Two sets of 7s and 8s. The first Jerusalem temple was destroyed by Babylon on 9th Ave. Book of Mormon talks about this. The Book of Mormon is prophecy to us right now. It gave us the date of the start of the ministry, September 23rd, 2017, right there in the very first chapter of of the first book on the first page, verses 8 through 10. It gave us the Exodus year, when Lehi exodused. He had a family. What the hell? But then we are told about Mulek, who's there at the destruction on 9th Av, 586 BCE, who takes a group of survivors to Zion in America. And Moses Yah meets them at that location. The Book of Mormon is talking about the two exoduses of the world and of the headquarters. It's also talking about different Exodus time periods, one before 9th Av, the other on 9th Av. That concerns me. Ninth Av this year is the 3rd of August. Trump's been fulfilling everything else. What do you think Trump's got planned? I've already told you. The Jesus destruction of the Jews was on 70 CE on 9th Av also. Both temples destroyed on 9th Av. The Jerusalem temple is stone. Joseph Smith talks about the stone temple at the headquarters of the great and abominable church being destroyed as the Jerusalem temple was destroyed by their enemies. The Salt Lake Temple is the only stone temple, and it's their headquarters temple for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Joseph Smith couldn't have known that. It hadn't happened yet. And Mormons don't trust him, huh? So sad. So sad. So, this is what we have coming. Like I said, we don't have enough people to even form a resistance. You know, Star Wars, they didn't form a resistance until the Emperor took over Congress. We are witnessing the exact same pattern match. Members of Congress of the deep state Dems are not forming a resistance yet, but are starting to talk about the need for it, with the Emperor becoming the Emperor. But they have no clue how to do a resistance properly. Because MAGA have had a war room this whole time. Plotting, planning. Oaks, we're running a test in 2020. Which means now that the test run has been completed, they've been preparing for right now. Everything that has happened has been planned, premeditated. And so they're already looking for the resistance before the resistance has even been formed. Because that's what the enemy does. And so the resistance, because it has not been created prior to, is going to be immediately squashed by the empire. Because they're already looking for resistance to destroy them. Similar to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I needed followers prior to Nelson taking over the throne. I needed people who knew what I was talking about and talking about preparing for the Exodus in advance. Preparing themselves and their families before the enemy comes as a thief in the night to destroy this church in this valley of the betrayer Cox as the sanctuary state of Utah. We don't have it. I still don't think, other than those who have been following me, that there are any Mormons who know that the real Zion that Joseph Smith talked about in 19 July 1840 is southern Illinois, where X marks the spot. That even the Jews knew and told everybody. If you look at Paleo-Hebrew script, which, like I said, we'll get into it when I do the Cairo. So yeah, we're looking at a major catastrophe coming. They are making this much harder for me. So I guess it'll have to be a greater miracle if it does happen, but Mormons won't know of what I had to go through to understand how much of a miracle it'll be if and when it all happens. And so yes, we do need an Exodus before the 3rd of August. Otherwise, the 3rd of August, if they are going to do it on that day because they hate the Jews, that is the one day that they themselves know both temples were destroyed, and the Jerusalem temple isn't available to be destroyed any further. Only the Church of Jesus Christ is. And they're lying about the church, and people know they're lying. Lies have consequences. The church does not like those consequences, but they lie still. And they keep on lying and get others to spread the lies. Which I have wondered, and it does seem that, yeah, the church is going to destroy the church. And whether or not it's so that they can claim the insurance money as the last amount of money to obtain before going off to the non-extradition island countries to enjoy the multi-trillions that they hoarded. Because that's what they're planning. Taking the money and running. They tell you they're hoarding it for Jesus, but it's very obvious there is no Jesus, so who are they hoarding it for then? Themselves. Whoever's alive during this time. And so yes, Oakes, he's the one drooling. Nelson's too old. He is wheelchair bound, he doesn't go to work, stuck at home. Oakes is taking over the church now. Number 18, according to their numbering. Why their numbering? Because 18 can be 6 plus 6 plus 6. Yeah, you didn't watch my Relief Society conference for the 18th, did you? The 18th Relief Society president? The 666 Relief Society Presidency Conference. Good times. Good times. So yeah, this is what needs to happen. The fall, a transfer of authority. Then the Exodus. I can't do an Exodus without the fall and the transfer. If they do not happen, there will be no Exodus, there will be no Zion. It's that simple. Alrighty. God. I think that's it.